Hey, this is Sam Leonard. Now, in this video, what I'm going to be talking about is not accepting mediocrity. Because ultimately, we don't want to accept mediocrity within our lives because we want better lives. And if you look at many people out there, they're accepting the mediocre, they're accepting the average, they're giving up on themselves, on their dreams. So we need to think differently. If we want different results from the majority of people out there, we need to think differently because our thinking will turn into our actions and our results. So we need to start thinking differently. This is really where our level of personal growth comes into it. This continuous improvement of ourself, continuous learning will affect the results that we're getting. But many people don't have this, they have this lack of urgency when it comes to improving something within their life. This is more of a mediocre mindset. This someday attitude, I will start running, I will get healthy, I will start the business, I will quit my job. Whatever it is, I mean, ultimately, yes, if some of those things take longer, then you might not be able to do that immediately, but it's the taking the steps, taking the actions that lead to the results you want to get. And this brings me on to, if we're not going to accept the mediocre within our lives, it takes us to have a level of commitment, an intention to change. This is what is going to get us the results. This commitment and consistency and discipline of learning and growing on a daily basis, because then we're better than we were yesterday. We're moving in the direction of our goals, of our purpose. Obviously, it helps if you know what your specific goal is, but if you don't, then just by learning and moving forward, you're going to be developing yourself and you're going to get closer to coming to that awareness. But it takes these small steps. That's all we need to do, is take small steps that are consistently allowing us to grow and move in the direction of becoming a better version of ourselves, because this will ultimately be the result of this will improve our life, because we're going to be becoming better people. We're not accepting the mediocre. We're going for our dreams. We're improving ourselves. We're learning more. We're increasing our health, our finance, all these different areas of personal growth by taking this consistent action. But we need to really look at what the influences are. Why do people accept the mediocre? Well, a lot of it comes from our upbringing, the limitations maybe of our parents or our different influences. But, by accepting this, by accepting these labels that were imposed on us and not growing, then we don't analyze them and we don't have a new awareness to them. Everyone has these limitations and things imposed on them in their upbringing. Different influences in their life, could be in their adult life as well. But it really takes this level of personal growth to get to this level of increased awareness and constant self-analysis. This is how we move past these limitations, because then we're starting to grow. Then we're starting to readdress what we're doing in our daily life, our habits, all the different things that we're doing that is going to get us to move forward. So we need to look at where these things came from. Obviously, growing up, there's going to be different influences, but also the influences that we have on us now, the people we spend the most time with, our peer group. If you're spending time with other people who are growth centric, who are constantly growing, then this is going to have an influence on you. It's the saying of the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Now, this is obviously going to be the case, because if your friends are constantly growing, they're getting healthier, they're running marathons, they're starting businesses, this is going to have an influence on you. If, on the other side of that, if they're lazy, if they're not doing anything, if they're just accepting the mediocre, then that is going to be your normal. That's going to be your reality. So you need to ask yourself, what sort of person do you want to become? and the people that in your life are going to influence that. Now, obviously, you don't have to get rid of everyone in your life, but you just have to be aware of the people in your life and the influences they're going to have on you. Now, just because some people have not made this commitment of self-improvement, it doesn't mean that this is going to be a comparison exercise. It doesn't mean we get to look down on them or judge them or think that we're better than they are. We just have to understand that everyone is on their different path, and our path is different because we've made this commitment to self-improvement. And let's look at these commitments, because as an example, if I decide to get up earlier, and when the alarm goes off and it's early in the morning, I hit the snooze on the alarm, decide that I'm going to have another 30 minutes in bed, we are affecting our subconscious. We're programming our subconscious for that behavior to be acceptable. So if we don't want to accept mediocrity, committing and having this level of discipline to doing what we said we were going to do is going to have a cascading effect on the rest of our life. Because if you start your morning in that way, for example, then later on, or if there's another task that requires discipline and committing to doing what you said, then this is going to have a positive effect on all areas of your life, because you're becoming that person. Because our self-image is fundamentally important here, because I talked about these influences, these labels, these limitations that were imposed on us, but we also have these own limitations of ourself, which is one of the things I discuss. When we're growing and having this level of self-analysis, then this is when we see actually these limitations. No, I don't believe in those anymore, and we create this more of a positive self-image, and we're going to act in congruence with our self-image. So if we take this commitment and discipline, we're telling ourselves, this is the person I want to become, and this is going to have a positive effect on the rest of our life. Because ultimately, when we do get to the end of our life, when we get to the end of our movie, then we're going to want to look back with happiness and joy and fulfillment that we did how we lived how we wanted to live. We lived a purposeful life, because it's probably one of the saddest things to look back in your life with regret, with sadness, that you didn't do the things that you wanted to do. So just in order to live a full life and not accept mediocrity, it just takes this level of commitment to improving yourself on a consistent basis. And this is how we overcome this life of mediocrity. This is how we live our fullest life. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on one of my next ones.